Day of the Head Parade hails Mexico City as a holiday expands. Thousands, thousands of Mexicans took the streets of the capital to dance beside the John's schools and skeletons last Sunday as Mexico City rolled out its fourth edition of a Day of the Dead parade inspired by Hollywood, part of an ever-expanding menu of festivity for the holiday. The city once again borrowed props from the opening scenes of the 2015 James Bond film Spectre, in which Daniel Craig's title character dons a skull mask as he makes his way through a crowd of revelers. Festivities in the capital have expanded. Festivities in the capital have expanded in recent years to capitalize on growing interest in the holiday, with temporary art installations in public spaces and colorful weekend events. Yet another elaborate parade is scheduled to traverse the city's iconic Reforma Boulevard on November 2, All Souls Day. All told, the party in the capital will stretch out over more than 2 weeks versus a traditional celebration of just a few days. Last Sunday's show featured enormous brightly painted puppets in shapes like the Axolotl, a hairless dog venerated by pre-Hispanic societies, and a dancer decked out like skeletons moved to the brass sounds of marching bands. The carnival-like atmosphere was celebration of all things Mexican. The carnival-like atmosphere as a celebration of all things Mexican, in contrast to the sober Day of the Dead affairs many Mexico families have long hosted in privacy of their homes or at cemeteries. The carnival-like atmosphere was celebration of all things Mexican, in contrast to the sober Day of the Dead affairs many Mexican families have long hosted in the privacy of their homes at cemeteries. Carnival-like atmosphere was a celebration of things Mexican, in contrast to the sober Day of the Dead affairs many Mexican families have long lost it in the privacy of their homes or at cemeteries. Festivities make the country happy in Mexico and anywhere else. said Cindy Sazi, the Paris coordinator. Day of the Dead has religious roots. Day of the Dead has religious roots. Before the Spanish conquest, the Aztecs dedicated most of August to their goddess of death, Mictlantecuhtli. Some indigenous communities believe they could contact their departed family at altars or caves. Some intelligence communities believe they could contact their departed families at altars or caves. Day of Dead Parade hits Mexico City as a holiday expands. Parade 游行 a large number of people walking or in vehicle all going in the same direction, usually as part of a part celebration of something. A victory parade 一次游行的胜利的游行 a victory parade. Thousands of Mexicans took the streets of the capital to dance beside giant skulls and skeletons last Sunday, as Mexico City rolled out its fourth edition of a Day of the Dead parade inspired by Hollywood. Part of an ever-expanding menu of festivities for the holiday. Skeleton, roll out. Skeleton, 骷髅骨骼, the framework of all bones in a human or animal body. We found a deer skeleton. Roll out 展开 to make a new product, service or system available for the first time. Media campaign is expected to roll out early next year. Thousands of Mexicans took to the streets of the capital to dance beside the giant skulls and skeletons last Sunday as Mexico City rolled out its fourth edition of a Day of the Dead parade inspired by Hollywood, part of an ever-expanding menu of festivities for the holiday. The city once again borrowed props from the opening scenes of the 2015 James Bond film Spectre, in which Daniel Craig's title character dons a skull mask as he makes his way through a crowd of revelers. Prop, 道具 prop, an object used by the actors performing in a play or film. The props used in the show are a table, a chair, and a glass of water. Prop, down, put clothing on one's body. Down, he donned his fenced coat and hat. Reveler, some people who dance, drinks, sings, etc. at a party or in public, especially in a noisy way. Someone who dances, drinks, sings, etc. at a party or in public, especially in a noisy way. The statue was damaged by drinking revelers. The statue was damaged by drunken revelers. 饮酒狂欢者. The city once again borrowed props from the opening scenes of the 2015 James Bond films Spectre, in which Daniel Craig's title character dons a skull mask as he makes his way through a crowd of revelers. In which, dons 为谓语，采用一般现在时，动词采用第三人称单数形式。as 为连词引导状语从句。 The city once again borrowed props. The city once again borrowed props from the opening scenes of the 2015 James Bond film Spectre, in which Daniel Craig's title character dons a skull mask as he makes his way through a crowd of revelers. Festivities in the capital have expanded in recent years to capitalize on growing interest in the holiday, with temporary art installations in public spaces and colorful weekend events. Capitalize 充分利用某件事情。To use a situation to your own advantage, she capitalized on her knowledge and experience to get a better job. Installation, 安装设施, an association when equipment, furniture, or a computer program is put into position or made ready to use. The building was turned into a secret military installation. The building was turned into a secret military installation. Capitalize, festivities in the capital have expanded in recent years to capitalize on growing interest in holiday, with temporary art installations in public spaces and colorful weekend events. Installation capitalize. Yet another celebrate parade is scheduled to traverse the city's iconic Reforma Boulevard on November 2, All Souls Day. Elaborate, 详细的, containing a lot of careful detail or many details pass. They are making the most elaborate preparation for the wedding. They are making the most elaborate preparation for the wedding. Traverse, 横贯。Traverse, 横贯. To move or travel through an area. We traverse the desert by trunk. Iconic, 图标的偶像的 relating to a characteristic of a famous person or things that represents something of importance. The ads help Snake to achieve iconic status. Iconic, traverse, elaborate. Yet another elaborate parade is scheduled to traverse the city's iconic Reforma Boulevard. On November 2, All Souls Day. Traverse. All told, the party in the capital will stretch out over more than 2 weeks versus a traditional celebration of just a few days. All told, the party in the capital will stretch out over more than 2 weeks versus a traditional celebration of just a few days. Stretch out, 延长, to make a process or tasking continue for a longer period of time than was originally planned. I'd like to stretch my mortgage payments out if possible. I'd like to stretch my mortgage payments out if possible. To all told, the party in the capital will stretch out over more than 2 weeks versus a traditional celebration of just a few days. Last Sunday's show featured numerous brightly painted puppets in shapes like the X, a hairless dog venerated by pre-Hispanic societies, and dancers decked out like skeletons moving to the brass sounds of marching bands. Puppet Mool, a toy in the shape of a person in original that you can move with strings or by putting your hand inside. A toy in the shape of a person or animal that you can move with strings or by putting your hand inside. A puppet show. Venerate, 尊敬. To honor or very much respect a person or things. Robert is Scotland's most venerated poet. Deck out, 装扮 decoration. To dress someone in special clothes or decorate something for a special occasion. Lots of pubs like to deck themselves out with flowers in summer. Last Sunday's show featured enormous, brightly painted puppies in shapes like the X, a hairless dog venerated by Hispanic societies, and dancers deck out like skeleton moving to the brass sounds of machine bounce. 主语 Last Sunday's show 谓语 featured 宾语 puppies 主语 dancer 谓语 deck out. The carnival-like atmosphere was a celebration of all things Mexican, in contrast to the somber day of the dead affairs many Mexican families have long hosted in the privacy of their home or at cemeteries. Summer, serious and sad in appearance or feeling haze in a summer mode today. Festivities make the country happy in Mexico and anywhere else, said Cindy Kansas, the parade's coordinator. Festivities make the country happy in Mexico and anywhere else, said Cindy Sanzi, the parade's coordinator. Festivities make the country happy in Mexico and anywhere else, said Cindy Sanzi, the parade's coordinator. Day of the Dead has religious roots before the Spanish conquest. The A dedicated most of August to the goddess of death, Mictlantecuhtli. Some indigenous community believed they could contact their departed family at altars or caves. Altars or caves. Some indigenous community believe they could contact their departed family at altar or caves. Indigenous naturally existing in a piece or country rather than arriving from another place. So who are indigenous people of this land? Indigenous naturally existing in a place or country rather than arriving from another place. So who are the indigenous people of this land? Altar, a type of table used in religious ceremonies. A type of table used in religious ceremonies. Altar, indigenous 本地的 some indigenous domestic community believed they could contact their departed family at altars or caves. Day of the Dead parade hits Mexico City as holiday expands. Parade 游行 a victory parade 一次胜利的游行 Thousands of Mexicans took to the streets of the capital to dance beside the giant schools and Skeletons last Sunday at Mexico City rolled out its fourth edition of a Day of the Dead parade inspired by holiday, part of an ever-expanding menu of festivities for the holiday. Skeleton roll out to make a new product, service, or system available for the first time. Roll out a media campaign is expected to roll out early next year. The city once again borrowed props from the opening scenes of 2015 James Bond film Spectre, in which Daniel Craig's title character dons a squirrel mask as he makes his way through a crowd of revelers. Reveler 饮酒狂欢者 props down. The city once again borrowed props from the opening scenes of the 2015 James Bond film Spectre, in which Daniel Craig's title character dons a squirrel mask as he makes his way through the crowd of revelers. Festivities in the capital have expanded in recent years to capitalize on growing interest in the holiday, with temporary art installations in public spaces and colorful weekend events. Capitalize 充分利用模式 to use a situation to your own advantage. She capitalized on her knowledge and experience to get a better job. Installation, an occasion when equipment, furniture, or a computer program is put into position or made ready to use. The building was turned into a secret military installation. Festivities in the capital have expanded in recent years to capitalize on growing interest in the holiday, with temporary art installations in public spaces and colorful weekend. Yet another celebrate parade is scheduled to traverse the city's iconic Reforma Boulevard on November 2, All Souls Day. Elaborate. Traverse. Yet another elaborate parade is scheduled to traverse the city's iconic Reforma Boulevard on November 2 as Souls Day. Traverse iconic. All told, the party in the capital will stretch out over more than 2 weeks versus a traditional celebration of just a few days. Stretch out. I'd like to stretch my mortgage payments out if possible. Last Sunday's show featured enormous, brightly painted puppies in shapes like the X, a hairless dog venerated by pre-Hispanic societies, and dancers decked out like skeletons moving to the brass sounds of marching bands. Puppet 木偶, a toy in the shape of a person or animal that you can move with strings or by putting your hand inside. A puppet show. Venerate 尊敬, to honor, venerate. Robert is Scotland's most venerated poet. Deck out, decoration, to dress someone in special clothes or decorate something for a special occasion. Lots of pups like to deck themselves out with flowers in summer. Last Sunday's show featured enormous, brightly painted puppets in shapes like X, a hairless dog venerated by pre-Hispanic societies, and the dancers deck out like skeletons moving to the brass sounds of machine bands. The carnival-like atmosphere was a celebration of all things Mexican, in contrast to the somber day of the dead affairs, many Mexican families have long hosted in privacy of their homes or at cemeteries. Festivities make the country happy in Mexico and anywhere else, said Cindy Sansi, the parade's coordinator. Days of the Dead has religious roots. Before the Spanish conquest, the Aztecs dedicated most of August to their goddess of death. Some indigenous community believed they could contact their departed family at altars or caves. Some indigenous community believed they could contact their departed family at altars or caves. Altar indigenous.